Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today, na Monday, number 20 day for this month of February 2023. My name na Capo Daniel. I am the Deputy Defense Chief, Anti-Kidnapping Czar of the Ambazonian Defense Forces, the ADF, and the spokesperson of the Ambazonian Governing Council, the Egg of Sea, aka Sense Pass King, una own countryman, Ambazonian FBI, Mr. No Koni. Una welcome to our daily podcast, a program where we bring una the truth, we bring una meaningful information, fact-based analysis for help we as we work out for this journey to our freedom, the independence of Ambazonia. Good people of Ambazonia, we start today with the information as we monitor the great state of Momo. The message it be sent out from the Ambazonia Governing Council advising all humanitarian activities to completely halt for the next 2 weeks due to Cameroon invasion of the great state of Momo. Cameroon forces have completely surrounded Momo. Ongoing operations are happening on the ground, so we are calling on our people to be vigilant and to keep all their valuables and documentation in a safe area. Some humanitarian workers who are already in the field, we have advised them to come out as soon as possible because the things might come out of control any moment. It may be unpredictable, and we are asking for our people to be patient while we handle this situation on the ground. As our forces continue to escalate our attacks against the occupation forces, as announced since the announcement of La République du Cameroon elections in Ambazonian territory in March, we continue to monitor the situation and ask our people to stay away from all Cameroon occupation presence and especially their checkpoints across our national territory. On the international stage, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, is said to have taken a decision that will pause and suspend the automatic renewal of sustenance loan that is regularly being provided to La République du Cameroon to enable it pay salaries of its worker and keep its economy afloat. This money is renewed regularly after a couple of months. La République du Cameroon is broke and cannot self-finance itself and relies on the international community loans to keep its economy and its government working. It is said that this March, due to Cameroon infighting and fracturing of their government, that is affecting international commitment by the state of Cameroon to negotiate a comprehensive solution that addresses the root causes of the Ambazonian War of Liberation and the occupation of Ambazonia in Canada. The international community is putting its foot to the fire, and Cameroon have been told that without substantial progress with the stall talk as Cameroon struggles to fix its problem, Cameroon may receive no loan from the IMF. Ambazonia, dan hold Cameroon for a canas, wouldn't turn the tide. The commitment by Ambazonian leading bloc and the recognized factions that have led our country to have this monumental victory and progress by having Cameroon commit to a negotiation process in Canada have demonstrated to the world that indeed Ambazonians are professionals, Ambazonians are gentlemen who are willing to negotiate and unwilling to solve the problem of our colonized territory in the international stage, where the truth and justice can be established and enforced on both parties. These have turned the tide against Cameroon. Cameroon is now seen for what it is, the belligerent factions that is against justice and peace. Ambazonian must stay focused to fight and make sure that we do not stall our movement to liberate our homeland because of ongoing international engagement. But our leaders should be trusted to get the work done. Fellow Ambazonians, in the great city, home of the brave, in K-Town in Kumba, the phenomenon of Cameroon colonial officers creating syndicates to exploit our people have also emerged. in Kumba, a group of bike riders, Okada men, have come out claiming to have created a union who are harassing our people, arresting and holding Okada people and taking them to the city council where they are expected to pay some ransom or money for a union that have never been registered, a union that do not officially exist. This is the same scheme that Okada Bilai and Lele Afrique and their cohorts in Ambazonia have created to exploit our people. It has now come to Kumba. Attached to this podcast is the picture of the ringleader who have declared himself as the head of this union. We are sending out a warning that any Okada man who is involved in this scheme will be arrested and face the consequences of participating in predatory activity by the colonial state and enabling the colonialists to exploit our people, especially the Okada people who are the most vulnerable people in our land. We call on the Okada people to work hand in hand with our forces in the great state of Meme. We have handed this problem to them and they will assist to identify and take action where necessary. Fellow Ambazonians, one of the greatest things we would not suffer for our country, the reasons, now the thing of no standard. For the war, whether you want to buy a shoe, there is always a standard. Whether not the British standard or American standard, EU standard or Chinese standard, there are basically 5 standards that the world understands to buy shoes. To measure whether you are using kilometers, centimeters, there are always a standard. In Ambazonia, we have no standard. Anybody can pick up a microphone and put out a message and it will cause havoc within our community. As they say, a foolish person, or for assess somebody, how foolish that person will be, now for assess how easily you feel deceive that person. With small picking them, even if you license Santa Claus, if he come for Christmas, he can't give presents for house, they go believe him because they not already be smart, their brain is over mature. How easily you are fooled can demonstrate how wise or how clever you are as a person. Because of low standard in Ambazonia, we have suffered a lot of misinformation, and criminals and syndicates have grown within our movement and have caused untold damage to credibility and demonstrated infighting in the international community that have helped to prolong international recognition of Ambazonia and our diplomatic presence in the international community. We must have some standard. Counter accusation and counter claims have been used by people working for the enemy to cover themselves. All it takes for somebody who works for the enemy, like the case of Grandpa Santa, was for them just to make a counter accusation. People who embezzled money, all they need to defend themselves is to make a counter accusation. And our population will talk, say, well, now we're not too defied. Wait to be wrong with A or B, rather than looking at the content and the evidence that are presented before them. Recently, there have been attacks against my person and the persons of Dr. Chua Yaba, the leader of our War of Liberation. One Fabiano have gone online to declare that our civilians who were killed in the CDC plantation as a result of them disobeying the order of a lockdown and participating in illegal activity of CDC to enable Cameroon exploitation of our resources, that those people were killed by the ADF. The boy we in name na Fabiano even make a video about them. Una listen.
Where the spokesperson na Capo Daniel and the leader na Ayabacho Lucas, where they get the ADF, when they are defense wing, they don't take responsibility for those 5 workers the way they kill them for CDC, where they die for CDC, where they say where they kill them. And I be careful and say, La Republic du Cameroon get hand inside the killing. Nazareth Clovis and those guys in the DDR center, they get hand inside the killing. With some of those come out. Now, they work with La Republic du Cameroon. Their answer, they don't
Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. I am the Deputy Defense Chief and the spokesman of the Ambazonian Governing Council, Capo Daniel. Today, I want to announce to you a huge, unprecedented attack against the CDC in Tico. This attack is coming at the eve of 11 February. Our brave heroes, the Ambazonian soldiers, have attacked CDC, targeting a supervisor. So, now the part of the video that we play, in the beginning of the video, it talks a Capo Daniel, a leader, na Dr. Chua Yaba, na the distortion in this way they undermine our liberation struggle. Dr. Chua Yaba no be Capo Daniel, a leader only. Dr. Chua Yaba na the main person where it lead and inspire the war effort for Ambazonia and diplomatic engagement for Ambazonia. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba no be just Capo Daniel a leader, na a leader for a properly constituted, the biggest properly constituted organization by Ambazonians at home and abroad for represent their struggle and for prosecute their war for liberation. He be a properly and duly elected leader following the bylaws, uncontested and legitimate representative of the organization of the Ambazonian Governing Council. As una hear very well, for even the video where he play where announced that attack, this attack be carried out now by Ambazonian forces the way they for inside that particular area. I be sure say this boy, he never even talk for the family member the way they don't die, because I don't talk for 3 of the family them, for the people the way they kill them for that attack. I don't also talk for the weaknesses the way they don't survive, and all of those things are on record. Those attacks was targeting CDC. It was targeting the workers because they were working for La République du Cameroon by working for CDC. Soldiers have explained themselves, and the attack is legitimate and it is correct. Everybody who works for CDC should pay a price and is working for La République and must be stopped. We caution fighters not to kill civilians specifically in such incidents, but to use other means to discipline them, but they must face consequences for working for CDC, and CDC is banned and must stop working in Ambazonia. So this guy, Fabiano, went ahead and spilled what has been the problem of Ambazonia. Listen to his conclusion.
Targeting a supervisor.
For Mami, our party, where they did for Kumba, where they did for Tiko, where they did for Mutengene, all una be affected by one way or the other because of this terrible incident where ADF and La République du Cameroon they carry them out. I don't want to tell una say what hard day with you now. And
so this Fabiano idam come now. The evidence we don't play na audio way another toxin na ADF. A toxin na Ambazonian fighters them be a carry that attack. And not specify what an ADF and not call the specific unit, because even ARF then get forces the way they did different unit, because this unit it be known by everybody way it be connected to ground zero or self-defense. All man know it way happen for the people them for the weaknesses them, they know they mix their word them. These are regular boys, some of whom have been receiving money from people who owns farm or sell product around that area. So there is no debate that it was an Ambazonian attack unless somebody is not aware or is not connected to the ground. So these are the things that we suffered for. This boy, Fabiano, without any evidence, lied that I, Capo Daniel, the spokesman of the governing council, have said that it was the ADF. I did not say that it was the ADF. He is lying. Worst of all, Eli said the ADF he work now with La République now, and now with La République du Cameroon where they take and go carry out that attack. Completely lies. And these are the things that is killing our struggle. People coming out to identify people who are fighting for Ambazonia as the enemy, because La République is the enemy. Once you say somebody is working with La République, you means that that person is the enemy. You means that people on the ground should not trust that person. You means that people should not collaborate with that person. And you means that people should target that person because La République is the aggressor, is a murderer, is a genocider, is a people who wants to subjugate our people for the rest of their life. That is exactly what they mean. When people come out and lie like this, they are not targeting the ADF or our officials, Capo Daniel or Ayabacho. They are just using this, our lack of standard, where any person they talk anything because they talk enough for TV or for video, or man they take them seriously for undermine the actual liberation struggle. No, all man we don't listen for Capo Daniel no say I've been at the highest activists where they bring down La République du Cameroon, their strategy, and they expose them and articulate and advance and advocate for Ambazonian independence. For somebody for ignore every advocacy we don't do and not just spill criticism but lie about the ADF and our officials, it is shown and said these are the problems we are facing in Ambazonia. You know, be long ago, you get the other person who they call a nickname na Bush Baby, maybe because of his look, but one Mr. Ambe, for prime time, he don't come out, he make a statement in this same light. Wanna listen?
That Choyaba is not one of us.
America saw it and Chua Yaba cannot come to the United States. He's a terrorist, but not against La Republique, against Ambazonians who fund him. When you fund Chua Yaba, you're funding you are funding an enemy.
So with no evidence at all, this Ambe, it come out. I think it's likely because it feel left out of the Canadian talks when are the problem this will get for Ambazonia. Because Dr. Cho Ayaba and the leading blocs that they lead Ambazonia for a real negotiation process would get come by kind people, them come by kind organization, instead for reach out for the leaders who are engaged in the process are writing all type of stupid letters to the Canadian government. And they think somehow you can play Canada. Canada is not La Republique. They have done their research very well. The leaders who are invited, the leaders who are engaged are the credible leaders, the leaders that are consequential, and organizations that are properly constituted and that reflects our nationalism and that are direct party to the conflict in a greater extent and are credible enough. Those who have not been invited are not credible representative, and they should feel involved in the stakeholder way that the other leaders have made them. But for somebody to come and say that Dr. Chua Yaba is the enemy, that he's working for La Republique with no evidence, it shows our people how bad and how wicked our people are. So this man want our people to kill Dr. Cho, to fight against Dr. Cho, to discredit Dr. Cho and see him as an enemy, despite the fact that he is the most critical liberation leader we have, the leader who is responsible for providing weapons to all forces on the ground. There are forces who are ARF who have come out to testify of receiving weapons from Ambazonian fighters. We have seen our soldiers on the ground murdered. We have seen General Mba Ivo compromised because Ambazonian activists, out of their own foolishness, have come out to discredit him and ask him to be killed. Even yesterday, Seseko's own JC Etambe on Facebook page called ADF as a kidnapping group because it serves them politically to try to bring down other people. Imagine calling legitimate Ambazonian activities by self-defense volunteer to arrest individuals who have breached laws and taking them into custody. If you do not recognize that Ambazonian forces even have the right to take people in custody and you call that kidnapping for ransom, if you do not believe that Ambazonians who have influence and territorial control have the right to raise tax, it undermines and raises question if you indeed believe in our self-determination and our ability or rights to exert our sovereignty. Those who undermine the ADF and Dr. Cho Ayaba are not just undermining him and our officials, but they are fighting against Ambazonian, and their words are being used effectively, whether it's because they are compromised or they are embedded agents or they are just suffering from the wicked black man syndromes. Whatever the case, such people should never be listened to. Such people should never be seen as any other thing but impediments and hindrance to Ambazonians' freedom. These are people who pretend to be fighting for Ambazonia, but they are fighting against Ambazonia and fighting for their own stomach. These are self-serving individuals who use the Ambazonian struggle to push their own personal agendas. Ambazonians should have a standard, and they should know that there will be consequences for those even in the diaspora that undermine legitimate actions on the ground, put the life of our liberators on the life, and sabotage collaboration that is essential to free our homeland. Let them know that they will pay a consequences for all these their behaviors that is deliberately undermining our activity on the ground and is costing us human life. They are willing to sympathize with people and encourage the disobedience of Ambazonian laws and enable the enemy to continue to work in Ambazonia. But we are telling our people and advising them what happened to the CDC worker, na them sabi, na them kosam, now who be send them me and work for CDC in the first place. If you work for CDC, you will pay a price. If you work for brasseries, you will pay a price. If your company have not paid their liberation tax, they will pay a price. If you enable La Republique to come around election in Ambazonia, you will pay a price. Whether they call it kidnapping, you will pay a price, and you will be taken into custody. No matter who try to shield you and use so-called infighting to cover themselves, Ambazonia should judge them by the content. You cannot be saying you stand for Ambazonia, you carry Ambazonian flag, and you are doing the contrary. When it comes to your advocacy and advancing the cause of Ambazonia, you are actually advancing the cause of La Republique by undermining Ambazonian sovereignty and the right to defend its integrity. Because our people do not see these people for who they are, they keep on repackaging themselves and coming out to give some smart advice at one point that would not help us significantly to gain credit and do the same thing all over again. Traitors are traitors. Betrayers are betrayers. In the Bible, it is said, the one who puts down his hoe and turns his back is not fit to work with the team in the farm. Anybody who use outright lies to bring down other Ambazonians, liberation leaders, and officials and organizations should be seen for who they are. They are either deliberate or otherwise are the ones working for La Republique du Cameroon to undermine Ambazonia. Capo Daniel, signing off.